realize his quarterback was in the shotgun. He thought he was up under center, and he snapped a short snap instead of the long shotgun snap. Scott Green very alertly fell on the football, but I think this might be what happens. Watch as the center snaps it, and he's going to pull it right up to his butt. Yeah, he thought the quarterback was under center. Now, how you don't know that he's there, I don't know, but a heads-up play by Scott Green.
Todd, you play the position. You would think if you're a center that you'd be able to feel the quarterback's hands under your posterior.
You would think.
Here's Scotty Green down to the 42-yard line. I know I might. Coming up in the Prudential Halftime Report, John Saunders, scores and highlights from all of today's action, plus Robin Roberts on Notre Dame's fall from grace. And don't forget that we have Notre Dame and Purdue coming up next.
Purdue off a great win at West Virginia last week. They'll be laying in wait for the Irish, thinking maybe this that they can get after them a little bit.
Yeah, Purdue is a having game, and Jim Coletto has done a great job there. 7:25 to play in the first half. This time they get the snap to Banks. Completes the pass to his tight end, Luke Bensi. A 6'3", 218-pound senior is tackled by Tony Veland.
Well, here's the blitz coming from Nebraska. Terwilliger's going to blitz. Banks is going to read it. He's going to hit the little out route, but good coverage on the outside by Tyrone Williams. Watch as the blitz comes. Banks is going to read it. He's going to see that he has to get rid of the football, but a good tackle in the open field by Tyrone Williams.
It's 4th down and 8. Cellini into punt, and keep an eye on Terrell Farley. Always a threat to block a punt for Nebraska. He's number 43. Cellini tries to pooch this one, and Muhammad couldn't get a hand on it. Gave it a nice try, and may have injured himself in the process. A 40-yard punt, nothing on the return. 17-7 for the Corners. The medical staff of the Cornhuskers still working on Tommy Frazier, who injured that left thigh just moments ago.
See, the problem with that injury, Mark, is it won't get any better today. It will continue to tighten up, so I don't think we'll see any more of Tommy Frazier in this ball game.
State, another Big Ten team in action today. They're taking on Texas Tech. There's a flag down at the 25-yard line. Clinton Childs on the carry.
Instrumental face mask, defense.
Well, what's that, the third one we've seen today? John Saunders, what's up with Penn State and Texas Tech?
Well, Mark, Penn State having some trouble hanging onto the ball following a fumble punt. Sets this up. Zebby Lethbridge to field Scoville. 20 yards on the play, and Texas Tech takes a 14-7 lead. Mark.
Anything can happen. You know, the one area where when a team's playing their first game, where one of the problems comes up is special teams, execution of special teams. Fumble punt led to a touchdown.
We've seen that happen in our game today. This is Trials trying to get to the perimeter and turn the corner. Pushed out of bounds at the 42-yard line, and we saw Muhammad injure himself moments ago. Dean, what's his situation?
Well, he has a golf ball-sized knot. His ankle turned to the outside, his left one did, and it doesn't look real good. You know, we talked to Coach Osborne yesterday about the turf injuries, and you see that the turf could have caused this, but Tom was pretty defiant, saying that there aren't conclusively more injuries on turf versus grass.
Well, there certainly is more grab on the field than there is on a grass field, and that's what happened there. He tried to turn back to catch the football, and his foot, there was no give in his foot.
That thing turned right over on him. Clinton Childs showing you the depth of the running game at Nebraska. Case in point. Learned his lesson from that disciplinary problem a week ago and is back in action and looking good. Reese and Terrell's on the tackle.
And they just keep coming at you, Mark. I mean, right now the Michigan State first-team defense has to be getting a little bit tired. It's game conditions. It's hot down on the field, and Nebraska keeps rolling in new people, new linemen, new running backs. And take a look from last year. Nebraska, the #1 rushing team in the country. Michigan State defense, 104 in the country, and that's where they're weak right now, and they're getting attacked on the inside.
So at that time, it was a 25-yard gain. Beringer on the quick three-step drop. Incomplete, intended for Reggie Ball, who got spanked at the 28-yard line by Sean Hart, a nickelback. It'll be 2nd down and 10. But, you know, you talk about Nebraska offensively, so many specialty groups that the coaches talk about and their personnel.
And that's been the biggest change, I think, in Nebraska's offensive philosophy over the last several years is now what they do is they bring in a lot of different formations, different personnel groupings, but they run the option out of all of them. So you have to prepare defensively for each personnel grouping and how do you defend the option. And they find a weakness. They show you all these formations, all these groups of people, and as soon as they find an area they can exploit, that's what they stay with.
So far, Todd, they've exploited their ground game, 230 yards rushing. The pitch on the option. Childs again. Brought down at the 1st down marker at the 25-yard line. Terrell's making the tackle.
You know, Mark, Dean Blevins played. He had an opportunity to play against Nebraska through his career, had great success as a quarterback at Oklahoma. And Dean, this offense has changed. Their philosophy of running the option has changed some over the years, hasn't it?
Well, their philosophy of running it has. Certainly it has defending it with more speed. But, yeah, you're right. The quarterback now does not have, it's not a true triple option. It's essentially a double option. And Frazier, they like to put him on the corner with and keep him protected, Todd, so that he's not going to take any unnecessary pops. But he's just a tailback taking snaps most of the time.
The formula works. The give is to the fullback, Brian Schuster, the 225-pound junior.
Yeah, I need.
And the Michigan Wolverines down in Ann Arbor, just down the street, leading Memphis 7-0. Tim Biakabatuka back in form.
Syracuse starting quickly this season after their big win against North Carolina in the opener, up on East Carolina early in that ball game. So Paul Pasqualoni trying to get things squared away up there in Syracuse.
Lawrence Phillips is the eye back. 5:10 remaining in the first half. Beringer, quick three-step drop, complete to number 5, Brendan Holbein, who's hit immediately at the 19-yard line.
You wonder how Demetrius Martin made 7 interceptions last year to lead the Big Ten. Well, he didn't get an interception on this play, but he read it so quickly. He read the three-step drop, and he was right up there. It was a very short gain. That was well played, man-to-man coverage by the corner, Demetrius Martin.
He is the strength of that defensive backfield, number 21, rated as a professional prospect. Here's a 3rd and 4.
Another big play from Michigan State. I'd expect to see them try to run the option with Beringer. You see he's checking off where the defensive weakness is.
It's that ace formation. It's on the ground. Did Phillips get it back? Whose ball is it?
Phillips had it initially, Mark, and I think the Michigan State defender, Marvin Wright, tried to steal it from him. They're going to call it Nebraska ball just because I'm not sure they saw it clearly, but Phillips kind of went a little bit lackluster after the football, and I think Marvin Wright stole the ball from him. Watch as they come down the line. It's a bad pitch by Beringer, a little low and outside, and as Phillips goes after it, Marvin Wright steals it from him right there. At that point, I think Marvin Wright has the football, but the official didn't see it clearly, and they gave it back to Nebraska. That could have been a big turnaround break for Michigan State.
And Nick Saban fuming over that one. In to attempt a field goal now. From 47 yards out is Chris Brown. In high school, he kicked a 53-yarder. This would be a career long for the freshman. Plenty of leg. Man, that thing was a rocket blast. With room to spare. Is there helium in that football? I mean, he just crushed it. And it's 20-7 for the Cornhuskers.
Coming into the season, this was one of the question marks about Nebraska after losing Darren.
Yeah, Shager, he's gone.
Nice job by Chris Brown. Plenty of leg as he knocked that one through, and kicking is so much a part of confidence.
As I said earlier, in high school, he kicked a 53-yarder. That bodes well for the kicking future for Nebraska. Tomorrow night on ABC, it's an hour of You at Your Best, America's Funniest Home Videos, followed by Lois and Clark. And Rebecca De Mornay stars in a classic suspense thriller. This was one of my favorites. I would have never let that lady in the house. The Hand That Rocks the Cradle. All tomorrow night here on ABC.
Mentioning the kicking situation for Nebraska, we knew that they would be strong offensively. They returned some good players on defense, but kicking, Tom Seiler was their field goal and PAT kicker last year. He's gone. Darren Erstad was their punter who led the nation in net punting last year, and he was the #1 pick by the California Angels in the June draft of baseball. So they really came into the season with a freshman kicker, the first time that Tom Osborne's ever had a true freshman kicker and an untested punter, but so far the kicking game looks pretty solid for the Huskers.
And this kick comes down at the 6-yard line. Mason got to tuck that thing away, and he's brought down at the 20-yard line with just under 3.5 minutes to play, 3:29 to play in the first half. Nebraska leading 20-7. And just a reminder, coming up at halftime, John Saunders with scores and highlights on the Prudential Halftime Report. And Robin Roberts will take a closer look at the situation with the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, who, by the way, play next in the second half of our doubleheader here on ABC as they take on Purdue. That's out of the eye. Renaud is the eye back. And he gets the carry. Flag down at the 22. The Nebraska defense really pursues that ball, Todd. Veland making the tackle, assisted by Luther Harden. Let's see what these penalties are about.
Offside. Defense.
The penalty is against Nebraska. Look at action in the Big Ten today. And I really think that Michigan, Todd, is better than most people thought they might be coming into the season.
I think people thought that there would be a lot of, just uncertainty with the Lloyd Carr situation. How would the team respond to what happened in the offseason? But that seems to be a team that is playing with a lot of resolve right now. We saw them last week, and they were very impressive in their win over Illinois.
Illinois taking on Oregon today, and you get a look at Oregon next week against UCLA. That's where we'll be, out in Pasadena. Banks fumbled the snap. Renaud gets the handoff, and he'll be about 4 yards short of the first down on 1st and 5.
You watch this Nebraska defense, and they've changed over the years. The offense has changed some. The defense has really changed. Now it's geared towards speed. It used to be a 50 defense that was more geared towards big people. Look at that. The average weight of the Nebraska defense, 226 pounds. The only two really big guys are the two Peter brothers on the inside. Everyone else is basically a linebacker that can run. And this team is built on speed, getting up the field with your outside rushers and running to the football.
Banks with time fires incomplete at the 34 for Carter. Mike Minter providing solid coverage once again. And Banks getting off the carpet again, too.
Take a look. Now, Tony Banks knows if you throw the ball this much against a good defense, you're going to get hit. Now, the initial hit doesn't hurt there. What hurts is when you land on this hard turf with a big body on top of you. That's what hurts. I mean, the initial contact was not much, but having a 300-pounder land on top of you, that hurts. And I'll tell you what, it takes a toll on you after a while.
It's like falling off a 100-story building. It's not the fall, it's that sudden stop at the end. 2:28 to play in the first half. High snap out of the shotgun. Banks completes the pass at the 35-yard line, and that will be a first down for Michigan State. Napoleon Outlaw making his first reception of the afternoon. Outlaw, a senior at 5'10" and 173 pounds. And I want to mention once again that we haven't seen Masin Muhammad come back into the game since spraining his ankle.
Yeah, that's why Outlaw's in there now as the third receiver. Going to have to come through for him here in this 2-minute drill.
Be a good situation for Michigan State to get a score on the board before the end of this first half. 2:05 to play. Another poor snap, and once again, Scotty Green is forced to pounce on the loose ball. Matt Beard, the center, struggling a little bit today. Seen 3 poor snaps. One time failing to recognize that Banks wasn't even underneath him. Texas Tech having a little success, John Saunders, huh?
Mark, more than a little success. Zebby Lethridge here swings it out to Byron Henspard, and he does the rest of the work for the touchdown. They lead 20-7 after missing the point after. Mark.
Trouble brewing in State College, huh? 1:20 to play. Banks fires another bullet to the 39, complete to Derek Mason.
I think right now Tony Banks needs to kind of speed the tempo up a little bit. They've made some plays. They're out around the 40-yard line, but they're just entering under a minute to play. They've got a chance to maybe get in field goal range, try to put some more points on the board, but they've got to pick up the tempo here now in the 2-minute offense.
Chris Gardner has a strong leg. Banks under pressure, lucky to get away, and he fumbles it. Michigan State appeared to get the fumble back, but it has been tough on Tony Banks all afternoon. He'll be sore after this one.
Take a look from behind now. This is the kind of situation that Nebraska wants to get you into. Christian Peter, number 55, gets a good pressure from the inside. Banks wasn't able to secure the ball, but Flazell Adams, I think, there to fall on the football.
Michigan State, 4th and 12 when we come back. There's a look at injured receiver Masin Muhammad of Michigan State. Twisted his ankle on that pooch punt when he tried to down it inside the 5, and he may be finished for the afternoon.
It's a big loss for them because really on offense, the strength of this team is their quarterback and their wide receivers, and Muhammad, a 5th-year senior, a guy they were counting on to make some plays, was off to a pretty good game too in the first half.
Of little consolation, they do have a lot of depth at that position. That is one of their strongest positions offensively, with Mason and Outlaw and Carter. Here's the punt. Comes down at the 25. Reggie Ball. Ball steps out of bounds, stopping the clock at the 42-yard line. A 42-yard punt that time. And a nice return by Reggie Ball. So Nebraska now, if they manage the clock correctly, might be able to tack a few more points on the board here. And just a reminder that coming up next, Notre Dame, Purdue, the second half of our double dip here on ABC. I'm still trying to get over that field goal, that good field goal by Chris Brown. A 47-yarder that had at least 10 yards to spare. Here's Behringer in the flat to Childs. Childs doesn't get out of bounds. Well, he's close to the first down at the 50-yard line, tackled by Marvin Wright.
Nice job by Marvin Wright, keeping him in bounds, too, because Nebraska only has one timeout left, and they didn't really want to burn it on that play. Childs really should have tried to get out of bounds once he got as much yardage as he could.
What's Tom Osborne looking to do here with 9 seconds to play in the first half?
Well, I think you take a shot at one now. They ran the screen on the first down. If they have the first down, the clock will stop until they reset the chain, so you've got a little bit of time to get in there and do something, but take one shot to try to get it down around the 35-yard line and bring Chris Brown in again and let him try to bomb one again.
And a measure for the first down.
It's a first down, so now the clock will stop until they reset the ball and reset the chain. So Behringer can get his team set on the line of scrimmage, make sure they have the play called. I would expect to see him make one throw and then use the timeout if they get a completion.
Nebraska leading 20-7. Brooke Behringer in relief of Tommy Frazier, who was injured, suffered a thigh injury in the second quarter.
Just put 5 seconds back on the clock. There's now 14 seconds left, so.
And the clock is, well, Behringer spiked it. I'm not sure why, but the whistle blew before the play. Second down and 10. A lot of whistles, a lot of confusion down on the field. I'm trying to figure this one out.
If you're Michigan State defensively right now, they're playing a 4 deep, kind of a prevent defense. You want to keep everything up in front of you. You don't want to give up the big play over your head. Make them catch the ball underneath and then come up and make a good tackle.
Behringer Going to try and get out of bounds, and he does, stopping the clock with 5 seconds to go. The ball on the 44-yard line. Still a stretch in terms of a field goal for Chris Brown.
That was good defense by Michigan State because the scramble took 9 seconds, or actually took 7 seconds. Now you only have 5 seconds left. You don't have much time to do anything here. Maybe a 3-step drop, a quick throw, try to give yourself a chance, or go ahead and try to throw one to the end zone right here.
5 seconds to play in the first half. Pass is incomplete, and the clock stops with 2 seconds to go, intended for Brendan Holbein. Aldi Henry made the defensive play for Michigan State. This first half, very typical of Nebraska offensively. Chewing up a lot of yards on the ground. And there's a look at the place kicker, Chris Brown. Play action, Behringer throws underneath. That's Vedral. And Vedral is tackled at the 14-yard line by Reggie Garnett. And that's the end of the first half of play.
Had a couple errors in the kicking game, but we've got a good football team, and hopefully we'll get stronger as the game goes along. We'll just have to see.
Thanks, Coach.
Okay, Dean.
Tom Osborne, man, the master of the understatement, huh? Chris Gardner's going to kick off, and back deep it's Clinton Childs and Reggie Ball, number 7 for Nebraska. Nick Saban in his debut as Michigan State head coach, his team trailing. This is Childs at the 14. Sloppy tackling, and Childs is still on his feet. Across midfield and down to the 46-yard line. And I counted 4 missed tackles, and that doesn't make Nick Saban happy. And Dean Blevins spoke with him moments ago.
Okay. Nick, a couple of bright spots, but miscues, the difference so far.
I think we've had 4 or 5 penalties on misformations and in motion penalties. We dropped 4 or 5 balls. We fumbled the ball the first 2 times we had possession of it. We've given away about 6 points. We need to play a little bit better on defense so we can get the ball back. And we just got to keep playing hard and getting some turnovers.
Besides the mistakes, what do you tell your team in half?
Well, I just think that it's more our execution and what we can do than it is what they are or what they can do. And if we execute and throw and catch the ball, protect the quarterback, don't turn it over, we'll have a chance to do a good job.
Thanks for talking with us.
Thank you.
Sometimes easier said than done. Makovica on that carry for Nebraska, gaining a couple of yards, tackled by Garnett and Wright. A sold-out Spartan Stadium in East Lansing, Michigan, and a look at the first half statistics. The telling stat, 240 yards on the ground for the Cornhuskers.
Yeah, and the 3 turnovers by Michigan State. We heard Nick Saban talking about it. Also 9 penalties in that first half for the Spartans.
Here's Phillips, who had 137 yards in the first half. Todd, let's update some of the storylines heading into this contest.
Well, Nebraska, we talked about protecting the football, 1 turnover. They've put pressure on Tony Banks. They've hit him. You don't see a lot of sacks, but they've hit him a lot of times. Banks has played pretty well. For the most part, good decisions. First down, only 4.4 yards per play. Nebraska's averaged over 8 yards per play. The big plays, Lawrence Phillips has had 4 runs over 18 yards, so they've got to cut him down. Lawrence Phillips limping off the field right now. That's one way to slow him down, have him out of the ball game.
Sure is, and Clinton Childs comes in to take his place. Ace formation, 2 tights and 2 wideouts.
This is an option down.
And they hand it off to Childs, who has the first down, and then some. Move the sticks. Ball is marked at the 27-yard line. Robert Terrell's making the tackle. Clinton Childs, a 6', 215-pound senior.
It's just amazing how they continue to just keep coming at you. Watch the offensive line. Watch the right side. No penetration. You get white jerseys getting a great push. You see Clinton Childs is 5 yards downfield before a green jersey's even near him. That's great push by the offensive front. They come off as a unit. They really move the middle of that pile, and you're down to your number 3 or number 4 tailback running the football, and it doesn't look any different.
The give is to the fullback. You got to keep an eye on him because they'll surprise you with Makovica once in a while just to keep you honest, and that's what they do on that play. Sherrell's again making the tackle, and a bad sign when your safeties are making all the tackles. Look at Nebraska's first half possessions. Field goal, touchdown, fumble, and their last 2 possessions result in 10 points.
I think what Nebraska has come to figure right now is that the best chance they have to move the football against Michigan State is to attack the inside defensive linemen, to bring 2 tight ends and run at this defense.
And Behringer is going to keep it himself. He can run. He does have 4.6 speed. Maybe not as fast as Frazier, but he does have good feet, and Dean Blevins has more on Lawrence Phillips.
Guys, Lawrence Phillips' left ankle is simply being taped over the shoe, so a twisted ankle, and he is likely to return. But you've got 2 Heisman candidates injured in the same day.
Interesting.
I think that tells a lot right there. 137 yards, Lawrence Phillips, only 16 yards for Michigan State. We knew Michigan State would not come in trying to run the ball first. They were going to throw the ball, but had not had much success at all running the football.
Fumble. Let's see who got this back. It appears the Cornhuskers got it back. Childs pouncing on the loose ball. And Behringer was there as well. Interesting to think that so many people in Lincoln put pressure on Tom Osborne before he won that national title, perceived as not being able to win the big one when they've won so many huge games during his tenure.
Yeah, they've averaged 10 wins almost his entire career, though. I mean, he's had great success, but I guess until he won that big game last year, that was just the one he had to get over with.
On second down, the fullback, Makovica, pounding his way down to the 6-yard line, where he's tackled by Carl Reeves, number 55.
Part of the Nebraska philosophy is that we're going to play a lot of people. We're going to play 2 offensive lines. We're going to play a lot of running backs. We're going to keep fresh legs coming at you. And sooner or later, we believe that we can wear you down. If we can keep your defense on the field, we're going to keep pounding on the inside at you. These defensive tackles for Michigan State, Yakini Allen and Chris Smith, neither one of them much over 250 pounds. So they are really having a tough time on the inside.
Time to see who's got skills on 3rd and goal. Behringer keeps it. Makes it down to the 3-yard line, 4th and goal. You kick the field goal, or do you go for it? It's 4th down, and in comes the place kicker. Carl Reeves making the stop on Behringer. Chris Brown has already made 2 field goals today, coming from 22 and 47 yards out.
Kick the field goal here, Mark, because it gives you a 23-7 lead if you make it. And the more points you get on this team, the more you force Michigan State into a throw-only situation on offense, and that plays into your hands to rush the passer on defense.
The freshman says no problem on the chip shot. Chris Brown out of South Lake, Texas with 9 points. Nebraska leads 23-7.
The Washington Huskies tackle Big Ten power Ohio State. Tennessee battles SEC rival Florida for other regional action next Saturday on ABC's College Football.
The Cornhuskers taking their first possession of the 3rd period, 9 plays, 44 yards, capping it off with a field goal by Chris Brown, who kicks off now. And this will land about 8 yards deep in the end zone, and Derek Mason, with a good career decision, takes a knee. Downstairs to Dean Blevins, who has a special guest.
Yes, he is Dr. Merritt Norvell, the new athletic director here at Michigan State. How about a brief resume for us, Doctor?
Well, I've spent 8 years as assistant dean of the graduate school at the University of Wisconsin in Madison. I spent 17 and a half years with the IBM Corporation. I ran my private company in marketing and distribution for 2 years and served on the athletic board for the University of Wisconsin during the turnaround and did the color for the football games and had a couple of radio shows.
Well, change is the prevalent word up here.
That's right. In order for us to get better and be the best, we think we have to make some changes. So we're in the process of hiring a new baseball coach. We've got a new associate athletic director coming in for marketing, promotions, and external affairs, and we hope to close on a new track coach this week.
Thanks, Coach. You're headed down, or excuse me, Doctor, you're headed down the right path.
Thank you very much.
All right, back to the booth.
All right. He's done a little bit of everything, probably coached at some point, too. An impressive resume. And we might add that they are doing things the right way here in East Lansing in this renaissance period of athletics.
I don't know about the other coaches, but I do know Nick Saban's a good football coach, and he is thrilled to be back here on campus at East Lansing. I think he'll get this thing turned around.
He was here during the period 1983 to 87 when they last played in the Rose Bowl. And a nice catch by Derek Mason and a first down out to the 46-yard line. Michael Booker making the tackle.
Good protection up front, and again, as we've seen all ball game, when Tony Banks has the time to stand in the pocket and read the field, he has got the physical ability to make the good throw downfield. That's not an easy throw to make, the deep square in, but he had good protection, good field vision, and made the nice throw.
9:25 remaining in the third period. Renaud in motion to the top of your screen. Mason split to the bottom. It's a counter to Scott Green. Breaking tackles. Green picks up about 9 yards. He literally stepped over Phil Ellis at the line of scrimmage. Christian Peter making the tackle for Nebraska.
Good penetration again by the Nebraska defense, and it's a situation when they try to run that counter trap. There's so much traffic there, but that time Scott Green did a nice job just avoiding the commotion. Watch at the bottom of the screen. Penetration, they knock the guard and the tackle off. Green can't follow his blocker, but a nice little sidestep picks up a decent gain.
Patrick in motion. They hand it off again to Scott Green. Getting a little bit of work. There's a flag down at the 45-yard line. Could be, might be holding. Tackle made by Peter again, and Jay Foreman, number 56.
Holding. Offense.
And it's against the Spartans.
Well, the older Peter made the tackle. The younger Peter is the guy who got held. Jason Peter was being held in there on the inside, and again, a tough break. They had 9 penalties in the first half, Michigan State. This is a big one, too, because they were in second and very short situation.
Nick Saban hoping to turn around the fortunes of his team this afternoon. Trailing 23-7. Getting paid handsomely for this job. His first job was as a 7th grader pumping gas at his dad's gas station, a Gulf station. He's getting paid $1 an hour. Safe to say he's making some more presidents right now. A lot more money in his pockets these days. 2nd and 11. Complete on the skinny slant pattern to Napoleon Outlaw. And it's a first down at the 39-yard line. Tyrone Williams making the tackle. Outlaw's looked good on the couple of catches he's made today.
Yeah, nice little combination route by the slot receivers. The inside receiver broke to the outside. Outlaw came in on the little slant, and a nice job just confusing the defense, and Banks making the nice throw.
Pretty good numbers for Tony Banks so far. Nebraska showing blitz, and they do come. Banks looking downfield, incomplete for Carter. And once again, Tony Banks getting off the carpet. Came with a dog that time, a blitz, a linebacker blitz. Jay Foreman put him on his wallet.
The good thing that Banks is doing is he's seeing the blitz very early. He's recognizing it. He knows that it's coming at him. And right here, it's going to come from right here. So it's right in the face of Tony Banks. He sees the blitz coming, and he knows he has to throw off that guy. He doesn't have anybody to block him. Takes a chance by throwing it downfield. So the good thing Banks is doing, he's reading the blitz. He's not getting fooled when Nebraska tries to come after him.
And he has really continued to improve coming out of junior college a year ago. Last year, he was very much like a freshman, trying to learn the nuances of this offense. Another blitz. They find the hot receiver, the tight end, Bensi. And Bensi has a first down at the 17-yard line for the Spartans. Tackle made by Beelan, but not before Bensi picked up 21 yards. Good recognition again by Banks.
Yeah, real good recognition. This is a well-conceived play. Take a look as they come on the blitz again. Eric Warfield, the safety, coming on a safety blitz, almost got a hand on that football, but a good read by Tony Banks, hitting his tight end, Benson.
3 wide receivers in for Michigan State. Nebraska pointing at the left side, pardon me, the right side of the Spartan offensive line. They were pointing at Masalom and Flazell Adams. But it's going to be against Nebraska.
Good ball. Offside. Defense. Let's go back to that last play. Now, these two receivers are going to come off to the inside. The tight end, Bensey, he'll release to the outside, and the defense is going to get caught in the wash here. The two inside receivers, they'll occupy the defense. You see 3 white defenders went to the 2 receivers. Nobody went out with the tight end. A big play against the blitz for Tony Banks.
7:36 remaining in the third quarter. 3 wideouts in for Michigan State. They trail 23-7. Outlaw in motion. Banks complete to Scott Green, and Green has another Spartan first down. Good offensive execution by the Spartan offense.
Nebraska really making a commitment to come after Michigan State now. They've blitzed about 4 plays in a row, and each time Michigan State has made them pay for it. Here comes the blitz again, right into the face of Tony Banks. They're going to run a little slip screen to the fullback. You can see Jared Thomas read the blitz, or read the screen, and tried to turn and make a play, but he was a little too late. And this Scott Green, he is a productive player.
Soft hands, hauled that thing in with one hand. First down and goal for the Spartans. Carter in motion. The draw, Renan. Homie, don't play that. The Huskers read that one and stuffed it at the 8-yard line.
We talked about how Nebraska's defense is now geared towards speed. It's very similar. They really started making the change after they played Miami and Florida State in the Orange Bowl. They were in a streak where they lost several bowl games in a row to Florida teams, and they've streamlined their defense. And what you see is they get blocked initially, but they don't stay blocked very long. They're very quick getting off of blocks and running to the football.
Second and goal. Banks into the end zone. Incomplete for Mason. Kind of got twisted around back there. Trying to find his receiver. Booker providing the coverage for the Cornhuskers. It'll be third down and goal for Tony Banks.
Good pressure again by the Nebraska defense. I think Banks had to throw that ball a little bit earlier than he wanted to. Really wasn't able to put it in the right spot.
Third down and goal. A score of some sort is paramount for the Spartans. Banks into the end zone, almost picked off. Whew. Mike Minter was thinking about the pick 6 lottery and going the other way for a score. I mean, he had nothing but artificial turf ahead of him.
So Nebraska kind of baited Banks that time. You see these guys in here, they're showing blitz, but the safety's going to drop into zone coverage. They show blitz, then they come running out of it. It looks like man-to-man coverage, but it's not. Minter is sitting right in the hole to make the good defensive play.
Lucky that they didn't get picked that time. Chris Gardner now in for the field goal from 25 yards out. He's out of Plantation, Florida, 14 of 21 a year ago. Low snap, but it's down, and it's good. A good job that time getting it up. It wasn't pretty, but Solani got it down and up. College football on ABC Sports brought to you by Burger King, where you can get your burger's worth. And Red Dog Beer, bold yet smooth, unusually easy to drink. You are your own dog. Mark Jones along with Todd Blackledge and Dean Blevins here in East Lansing, Michigan, and another look at that last hold on the field goal attempt.
Yeah, watch Chris Solani. Good job finding the football, getting the laces turned around. I'll tell you what, you got to have good hands and you've got to have poise to be in that situation because you're going to get some bad snaps. Nice job by Chris Solani getting it set down for his kicker.
And here's the kick. Ball and Childs fighting over it. Childs takes it and he is brought down. It's on the carpet. Michigan State says they have it, but we'll wait for a signal.
The referee signaled that the ball was down, that the player was down before the ball came out. He came in and made the call right away. Still very aggressive, good heads-up play by Michigan State. Take a look from behind. There was some confusion on who should have the ball. A good tackle coming in there, and you can see his knee is down, and then the ball is going to come out. Good tackle by Brian Eccles on the kickoff team.
And a chorus of boos raining down on the officiating crew for making that call. Nevertheless, 1st and 10 for Nebraska at the 21-yard line. This is their second possession of the third quarter. Lawrence Phillips is back in the ball game. He's the I-back.
Nebraska does a lot of check with me at the line of scrimmage. They line up, they see where the defense is, and try to run at the weakness.
And they test out that leg of Phillips, and he's brought down at the 25-yard line, a gain of about 4. He was injured on their last possession. Ike Reese made the tackle, and they retaped that ankle, sent him back in there. Lawrence Phillips, we got a good look at him yesterday during their walk around, and he's got those trapezius muscles that just don't quit. I mean, he is buffed. He's got diesel.
Yeah, he's put together real well, and you know, the weightlifting program at Nebraska has been well documented. I mean, they're one of the best. Boyd Epley started it several years ago at Nebraska, and their strength and conditioning program has been a model for a lot of teams all over the country.
Michigan State trying to turn the tide here on this special day, looking for a special play, and here's a special runner. Lawrence Phillips with a first down at the 40-yard line. I mentioned it was a special day, and at halftime, one of our very own, Dennis Lewin, a senior vice president of production at ABC Sports, was awarded the 1995 Jack Breslin Life Achievement Award. Denny, one of the great production guys in the business. He's a 3-time letter winner as manager of the hockey team, 1963, 64, and 65. And a closet full of awards and Emmys. Beringer on the play action, going up top for ball, and he's got him open. Oh, baby, what a catch. He's got skills. Reggie Ball, airborne.
It's only a matter of time before Nebraska is going to try to get you in this situation. They run at you, they lull you to sleep, and then they play action and throw it deep. Now, Demetrius Martin, he got caught looking back at the quarterback. His eyes were on the quarterback. He hesitated for a second, and that was all that Reggie Ball needed to run by him. Martin tries to get back into the play, but an outstanding catch by Ball, going up and catching the football with his hands, extending the body, catching it with his hands.
Todd, last week he had a 76-yard reception for a touchdown. That was a career long. Here's Makovic with a fullback down to the 1-yard line. It amazes me how they just keep you guessing. Fullback option, so many different packages. They go deep on you. They don't throw the ball often, Todd, but when they do, you know, a lot of them go for big gainers.
Right. I mean, their passing game is designed to get big plays. It's not designed to nitpick at you and get 5 yards here, 10 yards here. They try to lull you to sleep with the running game, with the option, and then they go play action deep and throw it to a fast guy out on the outside.
There's a look at the play selection we were referring to moments ago. Second and goal, Lawrence Phillips hits the end zone. He knows where it is.
Nebraska touchdown, 1-yard run, number 1, Lawrence Phillips.
Cash it. Lawrence Phillips gets paid, as does the Nebraska offense. Another touchdown, and they lead 29-10. Phillips, 19 rushes, 158 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Heisman numbers? Yeah, I think so. Going for 2 now. The pitch to Phillips. Struggles to find the handle and is brought down to the 5-yard line. Tyrone Garland stuffing the play. It's 29-10 in East Lansing. Lawrence Phillips scoring a touchdown. Yesterday saw him at practice. He was listening to his Walkman, listening to a little Jodeci, he told me.
Take a look at this graphic. We showed it earlier. The thing that's impressive about Nebraska, 41 out of 51 times, we'll look at that, 36 touchdowns, 5 field goals. When they get inside the 20, they put it in the end zone. Michigan State's last series, they had a nice drive. They got it inside the 20, had to settle for a field goal. That's the difference.
This one, Todd, coming down at the 2-yard line. Mason has been unable to break one today. The Nebraska special teams on kickoff has been very efficient today.
I'm a firm believer in the fact that if you have an experienced quarterback coming back, you have an advantage in early season games. And Texas Tech, Zevi Lethridge is a very good quarterback. Penn State starting Wally Richardson has not had much game experience. They've dropped the ball on the carpet a couple times, and Zevi Lethridge is playing very well for Texas Tech.
All those long trips by Texas Tech Spike Dykes across the Texas Plains really paying off. His recruiting really starting to flourish a little bit down there. 4:25 to play in the third quarter. Banks hands it off. Green reverses field out to the 24-yard line. Gain of about 4 on the play. The tackle made by Ryan Terwilliger.
That's a typical Scott Green play. It doesn't look like much. It doesn't look like he's going to gain any yards. He doesn't look flashy doing what he does. All he does is gain 5 yards. And you move the sticks, and he's just that kind of a productive player.
And look at some of the action in the Big 8 today. Soon to become the Big 12. A lot of evening programs. And don't forget that on ESPN tonight, it's Colorado and Colorado State. Buffalo's looking impressive last week on ABC against Wisconsin. That's Scott Green out to the 26-yard line. You know, when Nick Saban took over this program, one of the biggest problems they faced were players who were not in good condition. Finish that story up a little later, and Dean Blevins has something more for us now.
Well, Nebraska has your typical bumps and bruises, and all players will continue to play with the exception of Frazier. But Michigan State's number 44 linebacker Ike Reese had his hand x-rayed at half, a cracked bone in it, and they put a soft cast on it. And Sean Hart has cramps, the starting cornerback, number 17. He will play.
All right, Dean. 3 minutes to go now. Banks tipped at the line, up in the air. Play a little hot potato. It'll be 4th down and 3. Punting time for the Spartans. And in the corner of the end zone, there is a sea of red. The Cornhusker fans responding vocally to that great stand by the Nebraska defense.
Charlie McBride, the defensive coordinator for the Huskers, he is really coming after Tony Banks. Now, until they get inside the 10-yard line, then they're playing zone defense. But out in the field, he feels comfortable with his defense and the lead they have to really come after him.
Terrell Farley, where are you? He's blocked nicely on that play. And the punt will be downed at the 33-yard line. Well, are Joe's boys going to come back in Penn State? John, what's up?
Well, Mark, fumbles causing problems for Penn State, now causing problems for Texas Tech. Byron Henspard coughs it up here. Terry Killens, the linebacker, recovers it, and it sets up a Penn State touchdown on the next play. John Whitman, with his second of the game, just pulls his way into the end zone, and right now it's 20-14. We'll keep you up to date. Mark.
All right. There's a palpitating Penn State heart next to me, folks. It's getting a little stronger, too. Lawrence Phillips trying the left side. And stuffed by Jabbar Threets. And flags down, maybe a little too much extra by Threets.
That's really an unfortunate penalty if that's the way it's going to go, because Jabbar Threets played this play so well, and he's had a good game. The junior college transfer out of Garden City Community College in Kansas has stepped in and played very well in his first game.
Personal foul, defense, first down.
Boy, I'm with you on that, Todd. I mean, you can't fault the officials, but it's tough to turn it off.
Well, watch the play now. You know, Jabbar Threets has made a great play right there. Okay, the play is stopped, and I think they're calling, you know, a late play at the end of the play. Terry Harvey, number 51, came running in there and got a shot towards the end of the play. I don't think the penalty was on Threets. I think it was called by someone coming late and making a hit on the play.
It might have been that a little body slam at the end. 2.5 to play in the third quarter. Handoff is to the fullback, Makovica. Moments ago, I was talking about Coach Saban and the type of program that he inherited. One of the most important things that he had to rectify was the conditioning and strength of the players. That is where his strength and conditioning coach, Ken Manny, came into play. He has made certain foods and places around campus off limits to up their muscle tone and lower the body fat percentage. And as a result, chicken wings at the Land Shark on Monday nights are now a faux pas. off at the 49-yard line by Ike Reese.
Ike Reese, you can see he's got the cast on his hand. He had the broken bone in his hand, and he's a competitor. I mean, you know, he's a perfect guy to play for this team because their nickname is the Spartan. You talk about a Spartan football player. Ike Reese is a Spartan. He loves to compete. He loves to fight. Watch, good defense, good penetration, and leverage by Ike Reese, keeping outside position, forcing Lawrence Phillips back to the inside.
Reese, one of those players that came in improved condition. Was talking about how they have a better diet this year in East Lansing. Their food is color-coded, Todd. Green is recommended for everyone. Yellow is okay food with limitations, and red is off limits for guys trying to lose weight. All right, Monday night. It's the Packers and the Bears live at 9 Eastern time in the Windy City, one of the oldest rivalries in the NFL, old black and blue football. Brett Favre at the helm for Green Bay, and the former Heisman Trophy winner, Rashaan Salam. Get a good look at him for the Chicago Bears.
Chicago looked very good in their opener last week. Eric Kramer played well, back as the starting quarterback for the Bears. And look at the quarterbacks in this ball game. Brett Behringer in there a lot today now, 4 of 7. He had the big pass to Reggie Ball. Tony Banks, pretty decent numbers, but you know, now they're in a situation where he's got to make some big plays. And in fairness to him, it's pretty tough when you're behind against a good defense and you can't run the football. But he's got to get some plays downfield to his wide receivers and try to get some quick points on the board.
Behringer, a active hunter and fisher. And word coming now that it's official, Deion Sanders is now a member of the Dallas Cowboys, signing a reported 5-year deal. Don't know the numbers on it yet, but Troy Aikman did restructure his contract and give up $2 million. They might have to put Deion on layaway, the amount of money they're paying him. The snap goes to Phillips. They got all kinds of tricks. And these tricks aren't for kids because Phillips is going to score. Touchdown, Cornhuskers. The snap went right to Phillips, and he went right to the end zone in the express lane.
They've been in this formation 2 times. Now this is Phillips right here. The center's just going to snap the ball right to him. Behringer will act like he gets the ball and going to pass. Everybody's looking at Behringer. Nobody sees that Phillips has the ball. They've been in that formation 2 times. One time they ran the option for a big play. This time they direct snap it to Phillips, and it's a touchdown. One more big play by Nebraska. You've got to be prepared that they're going to try to get big plays on you, and if they get more than a few, it can be a long day for your defense.
Yeah, Coach Saban talked about assignments, and Coach Pease also talked about assignments on the option, but just like you said earlier, Todd, how do you prepare for all these different things? I mean, I'm not sure that the Spartans were thinking about the direct snap play to Lawrence Phillips that time.
Well, in Nebraska, you know, in years past when Nebraska had great football teams, they never lined up in 4 wide receivers. They never lined up in the shotgun. You could pretty much narrow down what they were going to try to do to you offensively. But the real change that Tom Osborne has brought to this offense is they give you 5 or 6 different formations. They run their option out of all those formations. So if you're a defensive coach and you're preparing during the week, you've got to show your team, okay, when they get in this set, they've got 3 wide receivers. Now this set they have 2 tight ends and 1 back. This set, you know, and you've got to prepare to stop the option and stop all the things they do in every formation. And Tom Osborne has done a great job changing his philosophy of how to call plays and using more personnel and different formations.
Osborne extremely pleased, no doubt, with those 206 yards on the ground by Phillips today. Todd, I want to ask you, do you think that it's going to hurt Frazier and Phillips in terms of splitting votes for the Heisman Trophy?
I think ultimately that will hurt them. I think that it's tough to have 2 Heisman candidates on the same football team. And certainly Lawrence Phillips, though, is 153 yards in the opener last week, over 200 yards in this game. He's making a very strong statement. And unfortunate for Tommy Frazier, being on the bench, it's pretty hard to impress anybody.
And Brooke Behringer with his pilot's license. piloting this team to a very successful second half so far. Dean Blevins has more from a QB's perspective.
Well, I say you vote for the quarterback all the time, guys. I'm sure Todd agrees.
I'm shocked.
Most schools overhype their candidates, but Nebraska does have that position where they have 2 of them. We talked to the SID office before the game about choosing one over the other. They said, no, they aren't going to do that because the Huskers are on TV so much the voters can virtually see them every week, and they know what they can do.
Yeah, Tommy Frazier can do a lot. The 5th born of Priscilla and Tommy Frazier Sr. 9 pounds and 6 ounces at birth, and he has since matured into a very fine quarterback and Heisman Trophy candidate at 210 pounds. Chris Brown kicks it out of the end zone.
First down, Michigan State at the 20.
It's been a good day for the freshman place kicker, too. 3 field goals, a few extra points. Made history last week against Oklahoma State, being one of the few freshmen ever to start for Tom Osborne as a place kicker. 1:10 to play in the 3rd quarter. Nebraska in control. Antoine Patrick in motion. On the screen. Green has some good blocks ahead of him. And that's why I like Scotty Green. You don't see him run out of bounds. He'll put that shoulder on you and put the head on you, too. Fighting for every single yard. Ryan Terwilliger making the tackle, along with Mike Minter. And don't forget, coming up next, Lou Holtz and the Fighting Irish, trying to bounce back from that loss last week, taking on their in-state rivals from Purdue.
Michigan State has had some pretty good success running the screens today. Now, they haven't had much success running the football, but when you run the screen, it's the same effect. You take advantage of an aggressive defense that's trying to rush the passer, let them come upfield, throw the screen over their head.
That one working out well. Banks fumbles it. Did he get it back? Yes, he did. And now a little extracurricular activity. That's Flozell Adams, number 76.
Well, Flozell was venting a little frustration because he got beat by Jared Tomish on the play. Top left of your screen is where the pressure is going to come from. Tomish ran right around Flozell Adams, made the sack, caused the fumble, and then Flozell was just trying to pull Tomish off of his quarterback. Watch again, coming from the right of your screen, Tomish with the arm sweep, knocks the ball loose, and there's Flozell just saying, okay, you beat me, you made me look bad, but just get off my quarterback.
25 seconds to play in the 3rd.
Okay, David, get back to me. And Peter, 2 words. In budget.
Well,
now look at MIS. Under budget, reduced staff.
But sir,
We all got to work smarter.
But sir, it's not her. It's those new computers. They do everything for her.
I suppose they just installed themselves.
Practically.
Back at Spartan Stadium, I'm Mark Jones, along with Todd Blackledge and Dean Blevins on the field. 36-10 as we begin the 4th quarter of play. The defending national champ from Nebraska with an impressive performance today. Brooke Behringer coming in relief of injured quarterback Tommy Frazier. And Tony Banks has been running for his life all day. Mason with the catch at the 33-yard line, complete. But it's short of the first down, and they'll have to punt. And now Mason comes up limping.
Pretty good idea by Gary Tranquil, the offensive coordinator. They've been getting after your quarterback on the blitz. Move him to a different spot. Get him out of the pocket a little bit. Nice effort by Banks to elude the rush. The safety coming on the blitz and makes the nice throw back to the middle of the field, but short of the first down.
He can improvise. Chris Solani into punt from his 25, and back deep it's Reggie Ball. This one taking a Cornhusker bounce back to the 33-yard line. Time for us to call a timeout. We'll be right back.
Longtime rivals meet in a national showdown. The Fighting Irish of Notre Dame battle the Purdue Boilermakers. It's part of a special ABC College Football doubleheader next.
I'm telling you, this Michigan State Spartan band takes requests. That tune sound familiar to you? Earlier this summer, they recorded our theme song, our college football theme song, and Dean Blevins has more.
Well, Mark, this is John Madden once again. That was your group that did it. Gracious move on your part.
Well, thank you very much. We were really happy to have the opportunity to provide the recording of that tune, so it was a lot of fun.
John gave me instructions. All right, guys, ready to go?
Oh, here we go!
All right, back up to you guys.
I wonder if that John Madden has his own bus. You think?
Hey, Dean, ask them if they can hook me up with a little Boys to Men after this, will you, please? They are one of the better ones in the Big Ten Conference. Amon Green now in at tailback. And you talk about a skilled and speedy runner. He is all that. A thriller heating up in Penn State. John Saunders has more on that. John?
Mark, indeed. 4th down and 1, and they decide to go to the pass. Wally Richardson, though, hits Keith Olsemer from 3 yards out, and Penn State has taken the lead 21-20. Mark.
Todd, would Joe have let you throw a pass like that?
I don't know.
Gutsy call.
Yeah, good call.
Somebody broke off a pattern. Brendan Holbein ran a post, and Behringer threw it to the flag. So they'll talk that one over and hopefully get it straightened out for their sake. And it will be 3rd down and 1 to go.
See, talk about consistency with Nebraska's football program. They just, you know, Tom Osborne is his 23rd year. They've been winning 9-10 games every year. Great consistency. Just, you know, he's had assistants that have been there 15, 16, 20 years, and they just keep coming at you. I mean, that's the trademark of this football team is they just are relentless, and they win games in the 4th quarter by wearing you down.
And Amon Green is on his way. He says, see ya, and I wouldn't want to be a touchdown Cornhuskers. A 57-yard bolt of lightning on a sunny afternoon in East Lansing. Amon Green scores a touchdown.
Listed as the number 4 tailback, but they have high hopes for him. Heavily recruited out of high school, out of Omaha, Nebraska, played at Central High School. Great speed. They said he broke all their testing records for freshmen coming in. He's got a bright future, and they say he runs a lot like Lawrence Phillips. So that's bad news for Big 8 or Big 12 foes in the next couple years.
Chris Brown with the extra point. His leg might be getting a little fatigued right now. He nails it through. And it is 43-10. But the band plays on for the Spartans. College football on ABC Sports is brought to you by Chevy Lumina, the feature you want, the safety you need at an affordable price. That's genuine Chevrolet. Windows 95 from Microsoft. Where do you want to go today? And State Farm Insurance, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. This day has belonged to the Big Red. 13:24 remaining in the 4th quarter. And Nebraska leads Michigan State 43-10. I'm Mark Jones, along with Todd Blackledge and Dean Blevins. Derek Mason kind of set the tone early for Michigan State on that fumbled kickoff return in the 1st quarter. Corrals this one at the goal line. Rocked at the 20. Wow. What a hit.
Aaron Penland, a backup linebacker, came in there with a big hit on special teams. You talk about consistency. Look at Nebraska. 180 consecutive games they've won when they score 35 points or more. Overall, 245-1. Interestingly, the only loss was to Oklahoma, 49-35 back in 1950. I think Dean was the quarterback on that team. I'm not sure. We'll have to check with him. But
no, it wasn't that year.
Well, we're still we're still debating over that alleged 4.55 40 that he says he ran back then too.
Hey, the bad thing for Nebraska fans is that that used to outrun some of their defenses, but now that's the difference, guys. This team has remarkable defensive speed, and that's what's gotten them over the edge.
Yeah, you're so right, Dean. That's Derek Mason, the injured Spartan player, favoring his right leg. Another look at the injury.
Well, Mason has had the one fumble earlier in the ball game and really gets Good lick that time by Aaron Penland. I think it looked like he was just cramping up coming off the field, but Mason, a top returning kickoff returner in the Big Ten, had a 100-yard return against Penn State in the season finale last year.
Banks out of the shotgun. The screen to Scotty Green.
Go, baby, go, baby, go.
Oh, yeah! Scotty Green finally run down at the 22-yard line by Tony Veland. Green moving all of those 227 pounds downfield, showing a good burst of acceleration.
Gary Tranquil said he didn't think this guy was very fast. He showed some jets there going down the sideline. Again, the screen play has been very effective against that good pass rush of Nebraska. And Scotty Green, when he got on the sideline, picked up a good block from his center, Matt Beard. Showed a lot of speed running down the sideline before he's caught by the free safety, Tony Veland. We know Veland, he's a sprinter. He's a 4.5 guy, so Green showed good speed.
Banks brought down and sacked at the 32-yard line. Christian Peter says hello. Last week, the Nebraska black shirt defense had 5 sacks, and they add to their season total on that play. It'll be second down from the 30. Hurry up offense. Banks into the end zone. Incomplete, intended for Napoleon Outlaw. Veland again on the coverage. Florida State leading Clemson. And Michigan up 3 touchdowns. You know, I'm really excited about the program under Schnellenberger at Oklahoma. I think he's going to do some real great things.
He's done a great job everywhere he's gone. Every program that he's gone to, he has made him a winner. So I'm sure they'll be anxious to see that happen out in Norman.
Banks complete. And Mike Minter introduced himself to Luke Bency. Banks with another completion. More action in the Big Ten today. Penn State with a 1-point lead over Texas Tech in the 4th quarter now. And don't forget, coming up next, Purdue and Notre Dame from West Lafayette, Indiana. Game you'll see right here on ABC, beginning at 3:30 Eastern Time. Banks. Boy, he lowered his hat and was met by Farley and Minter. That's why they call him Baby Randall. He has the ability to scramble. Right now, we'd like to pause 5 seconds to allow our stations to identify themselves. Score in East Lansing, Michigan, Nebraska 43, Michigan State 10 with 11:54 remaining in the 4th quarter. Brooke Behringer has gone most of the way for the injured Tommy Frazier. Frazier, starting quarterback, shaken up with a deep thigh bruise in the first half. Clinton Childs is the lone back, and Behringer is going to throw. Complete to his tight end, Gilman. And Gilman is gang tackled at the 25. Gilman last week with 3 catches for a total of 31 yards. Is brought down by Sherrills and Reese.
People might be wondering now, well, why is Tom Osborne calling pass plays for Brooke Behringer at this point, winning 43-10 in the 4th quarter? Well, Brooke Behringer may have to start the game next week. Tommy Frazier still may not be back from that thigh bruise. You don't know how quickly he's going to heal through the week, and so you want to get Behringer some work throwing the football. They don't need to throw right now in order to win the football game, but they've got to give him a little opportunity to run the offense and get his feet wet throwing the football.
Always an asset when you have 2 starting quarterbacks in your lineup. That was Childs, brought down by Marvin Wright. Don't forget, next Saturday, 3:30 Eastern, 2:30 Central, a slate of college football here on ABC. Washington, Ohio State, Colorado State Air Force. We'll be out in Pasadena doing the Bruins and the Ducks. Pittsburgh and Texas, and Tennessee taking on the Fun and Gun offense in Florida. That game in Tennessee. That's at 3:30 Eastern, 2:30 Central. Call your cable operator for the pay-per-view games available in your area. Lawrence Phillips out of West Covina, California. The Cornhuskers presently awaiting an investigation, an ongoing investigation by the NCAA into some money and a car provided by the group home of which Phillips is a member. But he has been cleared to play. Thus, there will be no forfeiture of games by the Cornhuskers.
You got to really respect Lawrence Phillips, too, because he's been able to put that beside him and go out and play. And take a look at this again. We talked about how well they play when they score 35 points, when they rush for over 300 yards or 139, 5-0.
Little counter tray right here. Clinton Childs finding a gaping hole. Looked like there might have been a face mask, but no flag thrown at the 47-yard line. Robert Charles again making another tackle. And as I said earlier, a bad sign, Todd, when your safeties are making a lot of stops.
Yeah, it sounds good on the stat sheet, but you don't like it when your safeties are coming up. Take a look at today, 450 yards rushing for Nebraska. They ran for 513 last week against Oklahoma State. It really isn't any wonder why Nebraska has led the nation in rushing 3 of the last 4 seasons. I mean, they keep grinding at you. They got big bodies up front. They keep pushing you, and they wear you down with great tailbacks.
In the flat, Clinton Childs unable to hang on to that one.
Third pass, incomplete, intended for Childs. Second and 10.
Tommy Frazier, you know, interesting about Tommy, he has a brother, Rod, who's 17 years old and is at the moment a major college prospect at Manatee High School back in Bradenton, Florida.
Yeah, I think he's a running back, ran for over 100 yards in his opening game as a high school player.
Barringer back to pass on 2nd and 10. The flanker screen to Holbein. Holbein is tackled at the 47-yard line. He'll be about 4 yards short of the first down. If time permits, stay tuned, folks, for the Thrifty Car Rental postgame report featuring scores and highlights from across the country. A tackle made by Chris Smith on that last play. When you look at the advantage enjoyed by Nebraska right now, you think about the margin of victory eventually and how that can influence the voters in the poll. You don't like to see people run it up, but it's tough to tell kids out there not to play hard. They give us to the fullback.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with your kids playing hard. I'm not sure that you should keep your starters in late in ball games. You know, get your other guys in the ball game and let them play hard. And if they score, well, then shame on the defense for not finishing out the game and, you know, and really playing to the best of their abilities. But I'll tell you what, I think Nebraska under Tom Osborne, they won the national championship last year. I think they should be the #1 ranked team in the country. Most people say Florida State, but Nebraska still hasn't been beaten. I mean, they were the best team in the country last year, and they have not dropped off much this year. Even though they lost 14 starters off of that team, I still think they're the best team in the country.
And their schedule is very conducive to finishing undefeated again. The ball taking a Michigan State bounce that time, coming all the way out to the 15-yard line, where it's finally down. Michigan State looking to salvage a little more than pride with 9:03 to play. Welcome back, everyone, to East Lansing, Michigan. Todd, we talked about Nebraska and their upcoming schedule. Very conducive to going undefeated, even before they're tested in a strong way by Colorado.
Yeah, it really was. You know, they've had 2 road games to start the season, which was a little unusual, but now they go home. They get 5 games in a row at home. Not a real stiff challenge in those 5 games. October 28th, I think, is when they get Colorado. That'll be their stiffest challenge. They should be undefeated by that point in the season.
And they have had a ton of success against the Buffaloes of late. Last year, they really waxed them. Bit of a surprise, too, in very convincing fashion. The guy who's very familiar with Nebraska, having played against them, is Dean Blevins. Dean?
Guys, it's really ironic that Michigan State man is largely responsible for Nebraska's turnaround. The late Duffy Doherty offered Bob Devaney a job at a time that Devaney had planned to quit as a football coach and to go into business. And there's Bob, a wonderful man. He is the athletic director emeritus at Nebraska now, and the rest of Nebraska football history is history, actually. Back-to-back titles in 70 and 71.
Tremendous, almost unparalleled football tradition in Nebraska. Here's Banks. backside pressure, and he throws it away. Good coverage that time on Scott Green by Terrell Farley.
You know, and when we talked to Nick Saban, and he made reference to Nebraska, and he talked about the consistency of the program, the established nature of their program, it's all handed down from Devaney and then to Tom Osborne. They've had great continuity in their program. Their assistant coaches stay there a long time. And when kids sign up to go there to school, they know, hey, this system and this coaching staff is going to be in place for a long time. There's great continuity, great stability there, and that means a lot to high school players looking for a place to call home for 4 years.
And Nick Saban is hoping that many players across the country will choose to call East Lansing home in the future. Did a decent job of recruiting, although he came in kind of late.
Well, Tony Banks has had a tough go here in the second half because they've had to play catch-up. Nebraska has played their nickel and dime defense the entire second half and really blitzed them and hit them and bounced them around today. But he's going to be a good football player, a good quarterback in the Big Ten this year. He just went up against an awful good Nebraska defense.
Suffice to say that, Todd, they might not be tested this much at all in the remainder of the season. Chris Solani kicks it through the end zone. Todd, let's check back with some of our storylines after that 83-yard punt.
We can see Nebraska, they protected the football, only 1 turnover. They were able to put great pressure on Tony Banks, particularly in the second half. 7 hurries, and they hit him several other times. Banks, pretty good numbers throwing the football, but had to play catch-up. They didn't do a great job on first down. Michigan State didn't do a great job defensively on first down, and the big plays, Lawrence Phillips responsible for the majority of big plays against the Spartans today.
And now we have the third-string quarterback in, Matt Turman, who hands it off to James Sims. Sims says, goodbye, Spartans. Now, if that's the 4th-string guy, I don't want to see the 5th-string guy, Todd. They just keep coming and coming and coming.
Well, he is the 4th-string tailback, but he is the fastest player on the Nebraska football team. When they timed everybody last spring, 4.41 speed in the 40-yard dash. And once he got through the secondary, you've got a tired Michigan State defense on the field, and James Sims, he was off to the races.
Boy, they really missed Damon Benning today, don't they?
Damon Benning might be wanting to look up in his history book who Wally Pipp was.
Yep. Don't get hurt or miss many games because you never know. 50-10. Lots of talent in the cupboard in Lincoln. Let's go to John Saunders.
Well, Mark, it is now official. Deion Sanders has signed with the Dallas Cowboys. Jerry Jones made the announcement just minutes ago.
About 12:30 last night, had completed all of the physical examinations that would be required of a transaction of this magnitude. And Deion Sanders signed the contract and is now a Dallas Cowboy.
And not a bad deal either. 5 years for about $30 million and a $12 million signing bonus. Mark, back to you.
Let me see. I thought John said 12 million. $12 million signing bonus, and Deion Sanders, one of the premier players when he's playing football, able to change the complexion and the balance of power pretty much too, defensively and offensively, Todd.
Well, he wants to play offense, but I mean his great value is he can lock up on a receiver and just take him out of the football game. As you take a look at the updated score, Texas Tech again on top of Penn State, but Deion Sanders, I mean, you can put him out there on a guy man-to-man and just leave him alone and then kind of gear the rest of your defense to helping somebody else that might need help or blitzing the quarterback, and that's why everybody wanted him.
With the salary cap restrictions, it's important to become very creative when you do contracts. Mark Renaud on the return that time out to the 27-yard line. And as was reported earlier, Troy Aikman reportedly, do I say gave up $2 million? Deferred $2 million to fit Deion into the salary structure.
I think what Nick Saban wants to see right now is that his team for the last 8 minutes and 18 seconds of this game. Just play hard. You continue to play hard. You're down 50-10. This is one of the best, if not the best team in the country, and you're starting a new system here, a new program, and you want to build some character in your football team. You want to see them play hard for the full 60 minutes.
Yeah, that is the Nick Saban way.
That's it.
Nice stick that time. The linebackers filling nicely. Don't forget, coming up next, Notre Dame, Purdue from West Lafayette, Indiana. Purdue taking, hopefully for them, another step towards respectability in the Big Ten. Trying to move up among the upper-tier teams in the conference. There's a look at one of the upper-tier coaches in college football, Tom Osborne. 7:40 to play. Banks, play action. Complete to Mason at the 39-yard line and stuck by number 12, Mike Fullman, the backup cornerback.
It's good to see Mason back in the ball game. Didn't return that last kickoff. Good timing route, the slant pattern. Little high, but Mason does a nice job knowing he's going to get hit, but making the catch. Good tackle by Fullman, a transfer from Rutgers. Fullman is the smallest guy on the team. We know they've got a lot of big guys, but Fullman is the smallest guy, 5'7", 160 pounds.
Backside of the eye. The give is to Patrick, and Patrick is tackled at the 39-yard line, right at the line of scrimmage. Memphis finally getting on the board against Michigan. The Sooners still have a lot of talent. I was referring to that earlier. And coming up next, Purdue and Notre Dame. 6:40 to play. Banks is going to pass. Throws a nice out pattern, complete. Near midfield at the 49-yard line.
Number 20,
Octavius Long making the reception.
People ask, you know, what's a big league arm? What's an NFL-style arm? This is it right here. He was on the left hash. He's throwing a 15-yard out to the right sideline, and it's on a rope. There was no air under that ball. I mean, that is a big league arm by Tony Banks. He comes out of the break, and the ball is waiting for him on the sideline. Very few quarterbacks in college football can drop back and make that throw on a consistent basis.
Got that great size, too. They hand it off to Scotty Green. Brought down at the 46-yard line this time. A tackle made by John Hesse. And we will see Michigan State play hard the entire 60 minutes. That is the Nick Saban way. He describes his philosophy as confront and demand, and he's a very demanding coach. When he first got the job here, had a team meeting, called all the players in, and said it was going to be his way or, well, there's the door, basically, and nobody left. They've made a commitment, and you got the feeling that the players here in East Lansing wanted to be disciplined. Brought down by Farley. Terrell Farley sacks Tony Banks back at the 46-yard line.
Tough to run that bootleg into the face of a blitz. That time, if you drop back and pass, it's a little easier because you can see it coming. Take a look at Michigan State's schedule. Of course, you see they only have the one bye week listed there, November 18th, because they didn't start last week. They had the first weekend off. This is their opener.
They play Boston College on the 30th. That's going to be a real nice game. Mark Hartzell, the quarterback for Boston College, extremely talented. They got a win on Thursday night.
Yeah, that was a tough win. Going to Blacksburg and win, that's a good bounce-back victory for Boston College.
50-10. And Tony Banks is on the move. Oh, wow, did he get jammed up at the 35-yard line. And the ball is loose downfield. I'm telling you, when Tony Banks comes to, his clothes are going to be out of style. That was a heck of a hit. It's nice to see him up.
Well, Banks just held on to this ball for so long, and the defense, as he left the pocket, he's got white shirts following him. Now, this is not a fumble. He was throwing the football forward, but Chad Kelsey came in there and really put a lick on him.
Is that what you call it? Oh, wow.
I mean, you know, you're so unprotected in that kind of a situation. You just can't, you got to know that defensive is coming after you. You've got to get rid of the football.
Yeah, Banks looking for the team chiropractor right now. Under 5 minutes to play. Solani with a nice punt. Driving ball back to the 7-yard line. Number 7's going to try and return it. Good special teams coverage that time. Number 35, Brian Eccles, making the stick. A 47-yard punt, middle on the return. I'm surrounded by quarterbacks. Right, Dean Blevins?
Hey, that's right. And we're going to get on our big friend in the booth there, Todd Blackley's 1982 to set the scene. Happy Valley, Nebraska taking on Penn State. Both teams undefeated. 13 seconds to go. Todd Blackledge back. He finds Mike McCloskey inbounds or out. Nebraska fans still saying out. Take a look at it. McCloskey.
Ooh. Got a big foot.
I don't know. All right. And there were a couple of other calls that were questionable. We'll hear Todd's side in a minute. Now, the counterpart to Todd is on the other side today. Nebraska quarterback Turner Gill, and he is the quarterback's coach here. Turner, good friend of yours, I guess, Todd, but he said definitely bad calls. What do you say, big guy?
Oh, he was standing so far away. How could he see?
Joe Paterno eventually said it was a bad call. What do you say to that? You guys did go on to win the title, and congratulations to you. But Nebraska looking for 2 in a row now. They've done okay without it.
I'll tell you what, we had a great series with Nebraska, and yeah, it was a very questionable call. They're late in the ball game, but it was a great game, and we had a couple great battles, and Turner Gill was an outstanding quarterback for Nebraska. I really enjoyed.
You know, I know you and Coach Paterno have a great relationship. Some people may not know Tom Osborne was a groomsman in Turner Gill's wedding.
Hey, Dean, by the way, I'm with you. I think he was out of bounds. Just for the record. Well, the genuine Chevrolet most valuable players of the game are Lawrence Phillips from Nebraska with 206 yards rushing, 4 touchdowns, and Tony Banks from Michigan State, 21-35 for 290 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. In celebrating its 25th year of NCAA sponsorship, Chevrolet will donate $1,000 to each school's general scholarship fund to reward outstanding students for their academic achievements and to assist those in financial need. Terman passing, broken up nicely. That was Aldi Henry.
You know, the worst thing about showing that play
Tell
is
me.
now I've got to answer questions about
Come
that.
correct
Every
and come
time
clean.
Every time I talk to anybody from Nebraska again.
Let me change the subject for us. A quick second here. Nebraska at home, as we mentioned, for the next 5 consecutive games before the big one against Colorado. And then, speaking of big ones, a game you'll see on ABC November the 24th against Oklahoma. Last year, the Sooners played them tough before the Cornhuskers finally prevailed. That's Terman on the option, keeping it out to the 26-yard line, where he's tackled by Tyrone Garland. As you were saying, my man.
You know, one of the things about Nebraska is the continuity we talked about in the program. Look at this, combined 114 years of experience in the assistant coaches. That's Turner Gill there. Now, he's only been there 4 years, but he was a player for Tom Osborne in the system. Everybody that's been there is very familiar with the system. And defensive coordinator Charlie McBride's been there 19 years. Frank Solich, the assistant head coach, has been there 17 years. I mean, it's just great stability in that Nebraska football program.
As you mentioned, that really is a positive when you're recruiting. And their counterparts, the crew that Nick Saban has assembled, also with a very impressive resume.
Yeah, Nick Saban really feels like he's put a great staff together. Now, 2 of the coaches on the staff, Pat Shermer, the tight end coach, and Bobby Williams, the running back coach, they were holdovers from the old staff. Everyone else he brought in new. Charlie Baggett was a former quarterback here at Michigan State. Last year was with the Oilers. The defensive coordinator, Dean Pease, he was at Notre Dame last year. So he's put together a very good staff as well.
Now, Gary Tranquil really did some innovative things at Virginia Tech. Turned that thing around. Push punting. Mason at the 27. Little stop and go, and then stopped at the 28-yard line. With 2:09 to play. And don't forget, coming up next is the Notre Dame Fighting Irish against Purdue. So stay tuned for that one.
You know, you mentioned Gary Tranquil. It's interesting. This is the 4th time that Tranquil and Saban have been together. I mean, they've been together at a couple different places. In fact, at one point in their careers, Gary Tranquil was the head coach at Navy, and Saban was one of his assistants. They were together with the Cleveland Browns for about 3 years in 91 through 94. So these guys are very familiar with each other and have a good relationship.
And speaking of offense, get a look at the new quarterback, Damian Hiram. He's a 6'5" sophomore, 198 pounds. A couple of tall quarterbacks for the Spartans. Banks also going 6'5". And then behind Hiram, they have Gus Ornstein, a transfer from Notre Dame, who the coaching staff is very high on.
Well, that's a shocker there. North Carolina off to an 0-2 start. Mac Brown's team was expected to make a run for something in the ACC.
This is Tyrone Crenshaw. The deep back who gets the carry out to the 35-yard line. 1:25 to play. Look once again at the quarterback in the game now, Hiram. From Jackson, Michigan.
Didn't have any game action last year. Played pretty well during the spring. Moved himself into that number 2 spot. There's Tony Banks again. He'll have better games this season, and he's a talented quarterback. Really has a chance to play in the NFL also if he puts together another solid season this year.
Yeah, like getting a slow start today. Nice run out to the 46-yard line. That was Crenshaw again, but getting back to Banks, last year he got off to a rather slow start and then finished the season very strongly and brought the team to a respectable 5-6 record, but they have had 4 consecutive losing seasons here in East Lansing.
In fairness to Tony Banks, too, now he came from junior college, which is a big adjustment anyway, and he's second year here, and he's had to learn a whole new offensive system. So he's had to learn 2 new systems in as many seasons here as a Spartan.
Hiram on the run. Tried to move him out of the pocket, but it broke down at the 46-yard line where he's tackled. With 20 seconds to play. The day has belonged to the Big Red from Lincoln, Nebraska. The defending national champions going to win this one 50-10. Another very convincing Nebraska victory as they improve to 2-0 on the season. And as he's done so many times during his tenure, Tom Osborne running across the field, victorious. And coming up next, don't forget Notre Dame and Purdue right here on ABC. The final score once again, 50-10 for Dean Blevins and Todd Blackledge. I'm Mark Jones. It's all good. We'll see you next week.
5. That is the best European hurdler in captivity, so to speak. That man, because the other person, of course, is Colin Jackson. Both friends, and of course from Great Britain. But Jarrett has been very consistent in 1995, more consistent than Germany's Florian Swarthoff.
And what a difference a year makes. Colin Jackson, almost the athlete of the year in 1994, and has had his problems with injuries. He's had a lot of complaints and a lot of friction with the British selection people, the Federation in Britain. Could be interesting as we get ready for a 3rd time. And again, that time it looks like it might have been Alan Johnson of the U.S. A lot of pressure on these athletes. Career leading the Grand Prix actually pretty handily with 45 points. If you take a look at Babakova's clearance at 6 feet 5 inches, she had an unfortunate
beautiful
participation in the World Championships where she did not do well at all. And nicely over 6'5", no misses in the competition. Tony Jarrett will be sitting down. Too many false starts for him, so he is out of the competition. So lane 5 will be empty. Trying to get a little bit of a jump on the rest of the competition. As I was saying, career leading the Grand Prix in the hurdles by 9 points. His nearest pursuer in this race with 36 points, Alan Johnson. And of course, triple the points here at the Grand Prix final. They will get 27 points for winning, instead of the customary 9 points in the normal Grand Prix events.
the structure of the Mobile Grand Prix final almost forces the athletes, the good ones, to come to chase this serious money. And there's talk even of next year increasing it significantly, maybe by another $1 million. The total overall prize money being up at $3.25 million.
And increasing the participation to your best 8 scores.
That's correct.
And making it even more perfunctory to come to the championship.
And I think that hurts the distance runners. And Nebbiolo was asked about this at a press conference yesterday. He basically just wiped it away quickly.
And away quickly this time, and Alan Johnson out well in lane 4, but Kingdom out in lane 8 as well. Creer in 6, so the 3 Americans, Johnson, Creer, and Kingdom. Johnson in the yellow in the middle of the screen, but now it's Creer, and Mark Creer will get the victory over Johnson, and very close for Kingdom. 13:07 unofficially the winning time, but more importantly for Creer, he protects his Grand Prix lead in this particular event. He will win the $30,000 first prize for winning the hurdles, plus 0.6 the win, so certainly well into the allowable. An excellent performance for Mark Creer, especially considering 3 false starts in this event makes it very, very difficult for these athletes to perform well.
All right, now watch. On the left-hand side of the screen, Kingdom gets out with everybody, which he has not been doing, and it's Creer hurdling very well technically. Alan Johnson hitting some hurdles, 2 of them in a row. They look at 3 of them. He's almost stepping on them because he's behind the hurdle, and it is the clean technique of Creer that makes the difference to the tape. 13.07 seconds as you look at American Courtney Hawkins down. He had a fine year this year, but rubbing that right thigh. The starter waits till their backsides are all up and even and gets them away actually quite quickly. And the people who had trouble hitting hurdles wound up 2nd and 3rd, and clearly, cleanly getting over the hurdles is Mark Creer in the middle there with the red top. Look, everybody else is powering through these hurdles and not falling down, of course, but the difference was Creer as Johnson hit 7 out of the 10 hurdles. These are excellent technicians, great leaping ability, tremendous speed, amongst the best overall athletes in all of track and field are hurdlers. And look at, he climbs the hurdles, but he gets a little bit behind them, and he's hitting them with the front part of his leg, almost the knee area. But Johnson just didn't get out and get into his right rhythm and get close enough on the hurdle, despite the fact he had a tailwind of about 1.5 miles an hour. We come back, more exciting track and field action here from Monte Carlo.